Thanks for joining our session today. It looks like there's a lot of interest in the validation area. We do have a few new items we'll point out to you, but otherwise it's very similar to the NSSRS validation. It's a clicker. I'm Jenny Carter from the NDE Help Desk. I have Denise Schuyler here and Naomi Colas from the Help Desk. So you probably you've talked to one or all of us, so I'm glad you could come. Today we're going to talk about the advisor validation, the year-end reporting with the due dates, and our resources that we have for you. Under the validation site, there's a home page, errors, warnings, verification reports, and lookups. Here's the home page. You will see you have your district. Once you add your activation code, you'll see your district and the school year. After this year, this is our first year, so next year you could change the year and go back to 1819. So as we get more years in here, you'll be able to change the year and go back previous years. Activation codes for this, right now there's just a district user. We are going to assign some roles to some districts. So like if one person only needs discipline, or they only need staff, or there's SPED, free and reduced lunch, those specific roles will be coming probably in the next couple weeks. So you can, if you need access to those specific areas, contact your district administrator and request that additional activation code for the advisor validation site. There's two menus on this page. On the left-hand column, you'll see the menu, and again up in the little hamburger menu at the top. Sometimes the one on the menu goes away once you get into some of the pages or how the size of your page is. Sometimes that one goes away, so you can always go up to the upper right and open the menu there and get the same, it's the same menu. In there, the main menu there is a contact button that will open your email and pre-populate with that advisor help, where you can send a ticket into the help desk. On the home page, there do show the data groups. Each of the data groups is by subject. These are kind of your old NSSRS templates, kind of renamed and changed a little bit. It'll show you the number of records that you've uploaded, so you can kind of keep track of what you've uploaded and what you haven't. Those are called data groups. So under the errors menu, you'll have review errors, reprocess errors, and error summary. So for your errors, it will show them under the domain. That's another grouping name, kind of like your templates again. So each of your errors will be grouped by that domain area. And once you click in there, you will click on the number in the error warning count. No, click on the domain, the title, to open this page up. Then it will open. One or multiple errors will show on this page. It'll show you the description of the error. And then you'll see the error column or the archive count columns. So you click on the number in those columns. Errors versus archived warnings. These archived warning information count column is new. The errors, there's critical errors and regular errors. So there's critical errors, one that should be fixed and excuse me, should be fixed and cannot be archived. Archiving an error is just hiding it. You can make a comment in it and hide it. So
why would you? Just out of curiosity. What kind of error would you hide?
One that you cannot fix. So if it's an October 1st error and it's past October 1st, and that error didn't get fixed, so it's an error that cannot be fixed even if you tried.
Okay.
So we've allowed you to archive, hide those. Those are that would not be a critical error. A critical error should be fixed. An error that's likely need to be fixed, but we allow you to archive it. Warnings are issues that may or may not need to be fixed, but we want you to look at them and fix them if they needed to. And the new information error warning, it's kind of like a lesser important warning. We want you to look at those. So errors need to be reviewed and fixed. Warnings need to be reviewed, fixed if possible, but they will remain. So your error count, we would like that column to be 0, but your archive warning information count column may not be able to get down to 0. And on these columns, you can click in on the number there and open that, and the error will open again, and it will tell you a description of how to fix the error. This one says a student with a school enrollment record with your district, but the demographic record has not been uploaded. So most likely the reason or how to fix it will be in that description. So read that. Sometimes the descriptions are a little bit longer, so read through them. It might say, to fix, do this and this and this. You might have a wrong code for a wrong setting. So be sure and read that real carefully. So the students will be listed under that blue bar, the ones that are on the error. So to fix the error, you would go back to your student information system, make the change there, republish or sync your data to Advisor, and come back here and check it. Here's a screen of where you would put in a comment, like say, okay, I've called XYZ district, I'm waiting on a response back. So that just kind of gives you, or multiple people in your district that are working on the errors. Okay, I've touched that one, I'm waiting on that one, I can go to the next one. So if you have a lot of errors, it will help you see which ones that you've touched, and so you don't have to go back. What did I do on that one again? So it'll help you remember. And then you can archive the error if it's not a critical error. Reprocessing errors. We now allow you to reprocess a single error. Sometimes it's a little faster just to reprocess a single error instead of doing all of your errors. Sometimes when you hit that reprocess all, it takes time to think. The more people that are out there hitting reprocessing errors, it'll make it even slower. So you can reprocess a single error. Or you can go there and reprocess all errors. You click the blue link there, reprocess errors. That'll reprocess all of your errors. Under the blue bar, it'll tell you which error, the status of your reprocessing. This one says I'm reprocessing error 716 on this date and time, and the processing it's pending, so it's thinking. You can click on that refresh status button to kind of see the progress of the reprocessing. That doesn't make it go any faster. You can go in there and click all you want. It just reprocesses the status so you can see the status. It goes from processing to pending to complete. And you don't have to stay on this page. You can go off of this page and it still processes. You can come back to it later. So if you hit several errors, different errors, if you do them all separately and then you do the reprocess all, it'll show the status of each of those. So you might have more than one in your request. It'll tell you what you're reprocessing. Your error summary. This will show you all possible errors that we have out there. If you're a SPED person and you just want to look and see what NDE is looking, what errors they have out there for SPED, high ability learner, staff, each domain will have a list of all of the possible errors. So some night when you can't sleep, you might want to click on that and read all the possible errors and get dozed off and have a good night's sleep. But that is useful to some people. I think I'll hand it off to Denise to do the next section. Any questions on that part?
Jenny, if you don't reprocess errors, like as you're working on them, when you come back, will they automatically reprocess or do you have to manually do it?
They reprocess automatically overnight.
Thank you.
And once you make a change, if you have an error and you make the change in your SIS, you do have to go in and reprocess it if you want to see it immediately. It'll refresh the verification reports right away, but your errors and warnings do need to be reprocessed or wait till the next morning.
Thanks. Okay. So verification reports, that's step 2 to reviewing the data that's been reported. We have the verification reports for students, for staff, and then we'll talk a little bit about the district admin sign-off. So the student reports that are available out there, we have the different categories, general, miscellaneous assessment, career education, early childhood, et cetera, et cetera. These are little accordions. Oops, I keep doing that. These are little accordions here, so when you click here, it drops down the list of the reports that are available. Each one of those accordions will have multiple reports under them. Reports are not errors. They're just a report of the data that's been submitted to NDE. So we do want you to review them very carefully. We won't always know if there's something missing. You could have a grade level missing. You could have all students reported as female. We're not going to know if that's an error. We can't catch those things. So this is where you can catch those kind of issues. And there are a lot of reports out there now. We are constantly adding more, and we will advise you of those when they become available. So again, each one of the categories opens the list of the reports. Here we have the membership and attendance accordion drop down, and this is over here is your review time frame. So if it says fall, we don't need to worry about those now. Next fall you'll need to worry about them. If it says fall or year end, then we want you to look at those reports under the year end section, because that's the data that we're going to be looking at and then finalizing and submitting. So yes, the process to fix issues if you find them in the verification reports is again to update your student information system, publish or sync your data to Advisor, and then you can review the report again, and Jenny just said the reports do automatically update. If they don't, there's a little refresh button right there you can select. But once you're in one of these reports, you can go in, you can select your reporting window, which is the different reporting time frames, and you can also do a drop down for the district level, school level. Certain reports you can get specific grade levels, specific schools. So if you need to print out a report to look at it rather than view it online, we have ways of downloading that little floppy disk icon there. You can download it in multiple different formats, PDF, Excel, however you prefer to look at your reports. And then again, refresh your reports if you've made changes in the student information system. This is nice if you're looking for a particular student to see what's been reported for them, or we use it a lot to try and resolve some issues with student errors or something. You can put in anything that would be found in the report, a first name, a last name, and a student ID, any of those. And then once again, when you're in those reports, there'll be a header or a heading at the top that kind of gives you more information about the use of the report, the data that's in the report, more information about where we got the information that's in the report. So these are kind of informational So here are your reporting window time periods. So full year as of today, October 1st locked. We will be adding a new reporting window, which will be the end of year locked, which is the end of the year data that we will lock down. So, let's see, is this where we do? Okay. Advisor validation verification reports for staff. We have 2 different little accordions there, and that's your advisor dashboard staff reports, which is specifically dashboard. There's no student data information there. The staff courses report, that's teachers' courses, no courses. Those are also available in the student verification reports, but if you're just looking for your staff and the teachers' courses, it's student data in the staff reports there. The district administrator sign off. Everybody sees this, but if you're not the district admin, you're going to see this. Only the district admin can do the sign off. And now I'm handing it over to Naomi. Where's the thingy? I can't see. Take it. There we go. Bifocals in the wrong way.
Okay, so a helpful tool in advisor validation, so you've looked at your errors and you've looked at your reports. Let's say though you have an error and you need to kind of further get into it and figure out what's going on. The lookups is a great tool to kind of really dig into your data, to kind of like narrow down your scope a little bit if you need. And there are various different kinds. There's enrollment lookup by ID, student lookup by ID, and we'll kind of run through each of these types. So enrollment lookup ID is great. You put the student state ID in there, and it's really helpful for resolving some of those enrollment, maybe cohort errors. What's great is we've got the NSSRS data imported into Advisor, so you can see old data, and then also you've got the new stuff up here. So let's say a kiddo's transferring between districts. You can see multi-district enrollment information here, so it's really, really helpful. You can look at dates. Let's say you have an error related to dates. This is going to show one kiddo's enrollment, all their years, everything that's been reported to NDE. Now, the student lookup by ID is really helpful if you have one specific student and you're trying to figure out, okay, what's Advisor seeing for this kiddo? Because you put in their state ID and you're going to view everything for your district that you have reported related to this student. And it's going to show up in one page. So you'll have a demographics section here. You'll have the enrollment data, and then you'll have program information, courses, grades, and it's all everything on that one kiddo in one place. There are student lookups, kind of reports that you can run. So this one's based on demographic information. So again, you've got, when you click on this, you'll have your reporting window where you choose from this drop down. So your full year as of today, which that's what you want to look at for year-end reporting, is your as of today reports. Full year is going to include everything all year long. But if you're just looking at end of year, this day, what kiddos, you want to select that as of today. And then within this lookup here, you'll have different fields you can limit your results on. So that's the demographics data. There's things like student ID, you've got race, grade level. Let's say you want to look for all the third graders who are female. This would be one way to pull all that information out. And then you can narrow your scope there. And then basically this columns to report is the information that you want listed on your report ultimately. What's the stuff you want to see? And then once that report comes up, you can export it to Excel. So some of the larger districts who have a lot of data, it's a good way to filter and sort the information. The special education lookup by demographics is pretty much the same thing, but it's going to have over here on these field to limit search results on, it's going to list your SPED specific things, assessment, SPED start date, SPED exit date. And again, your columns to report is the data that's going to come out on the report, and you can export it to Excel. So maybe you have a a SPED director who doesn't have access to advisor validation. You could pull a report here, export it, send it to them. They could review it, make sure it's what they agree to, let you know, or they can let you know if there's some issues. And then last but not least, programs lookup. So you can get a list of your kiddos in career ed, early childhood, homeless. Each one is very specific, and it's a pretty basic list. There's nothing too fancy about this one. So the new stuff. We've got the error versus the archive warning information count columns. That's coming. It's not currently in there, but it'll be there. And then we're always adding reports, especially coming towards the year end. So what we're trying to do is have everything that was in NSSRS validation be in advisor validation for you. So if there's something you used last year in NSSRS, it'll be there in advisor. And we'll notify you in like the bulletin when new ones come out. And then, like I mentioned, the reporting window, you want to use the, well, there's new as of end of year lock. So on July 1st, when we lock all that data, you'll be able to see what was state reported. And then coming soon, we've talked about a couple different times, are the activation codes for the various programs that maybe right now everybody has access to everything, but we want to narrow that down so certain people have access to free and reduced lunch or discipline data. Any questions before I get into year end and due dates and that jazz? Okay. So for year end, this is the stuff that we want you to take a peek at. What is collected during year end through advisor and what you should be taking a look at in advisor validation. You've got your student demographics data, enrollment, attendance, discipline coming soon, grades, the various programs. And then, like I've mentioned, the as of today version of the reports, that's what you want to take a look at. And actually, Ginny made a bunch of these copies, and there's some at the help desk over there, and there's some here. But it lists all the reports that to take a look at the end of the year. So it's a really helpful tool. And then this is just kind of listing some of the reports that you want to look at. They're also on that sheet. So there are some staff reports in advisor validation, but it's important to note that those staff reports are either related to the dashboard or they're related to student level data. So for your staff reporting, you still want to use the staff reporting collection that's in the portal, and you still want to use NSSRS validation to review the staff related reports and staff related errors. And so for staff reporting, I think we've mentioned it a couple times, but we'll keep saying it. The SBI codes, it's really important to get those right now because next year they won't let you kind of retroactively fix those. So take a look, make sure that those are set up correctly. And then in NSSRS validation, there's a few reports to review, and there's a new one, NEP teacher demographics. But if you're looking so the staff reporting for GMS grants, that may help you with those SBI codes. That's a report you can take a look at. And then, oh yeah.
So when you say you can't change those codes, so say, you uploaded your data in September, but maybe like in October they tell you that it needs to be something else. Because sometimes we get calls from.
Yes.
So can we change it then?
Yes. Change it now. Get it updated now because.
So it's like next year you can't change it.
Correct. Yes. So yeah. Another question? Special program indicator. So in staff reporting, you have an assignment code, which is the 4-digit number that's related to your teacher, your administrator, and then you have that code right before it. It could be a 0, it could be an I, it could be an S. In the staff reporting guidance that we have, I think I show you the page, but it lists what each of those codes are used for and the assignment numbers that are associated with them. So that'll be important to take a peek at. Any other questions? Okay. So CDC, Consolidated Data Collections, there's some changes in a few of the reports. One is the Nebraska Education Profile. So in the past, we collected your assessment results, and you sent us the grades. You would say, okay, I only want 3rd grade results. So you'd only send us 3rd grade. Well, this year we're receiving all of that information. So in the CDC collection, Nebraska Education Profile, you or your superintendent, whoever does this, is going to say, I want these grades and I want those results for the assessment used for NEP display. And then the days in session, instructional program hours. The days in session information is going to come through Advisor, but the instructional program hours still need to be completed by the districts. So that report is still important for you guys to send in. And then reports of suspension, expulsion, same deal. We're collecting that student information in Advisor, but there's an assurances box to check within this collection. So you still have to go in and check that box. And then last but not least, the ESU District System School Information Report. You'll be able to identify your grade levels that are used for elementary and middle school for AQuest. So if you have like a K through 12 school, you can say, I want to use K through 6 is elementary and 7 through 8 is middle, however you do it. There are a couple other CDC collections that don't have changes. Substitute teachers is currently open. Human Resources Director contacts currently open. Annual participation report and pupil transportation report will open soon, and all those are due at the end of the year. And then due Wednesday are a couple non-public federal collections, so reminder to get those submitted. And then there are a couple kind of standalone collections in the data collections tab of the portal. One is special education post-school outcomes. That's the one that's due today, tomorrow, today. So, and then there's 1819 AQuest EBA. That is a single user. We've had a couple tickets. That's a single user activation code. So if you've got a principal who can't get access to that, it's probably because a previous user has access. So ask us, let us know if you have questions on that. And then new is the 1718 post-school survey. So this was previously collected through a template in NSSRS. Right now, you'll go into data collections. It actually opens in a couple days. You'll go into data collections and basically just give us that file. Same kind of template format, but you'll just put it in here instead of submitting it through data collections, or data manager, sorry.
So, run that by me again.
Okay.
I think I know what you just said, but I am not sure.
Yep. Okay, so the 1718 post-school survey is your career education.
Is it gonna go through Data Manager or through CDC?
It's actually gonna go through the data collections tab. It's gonna be a standalone collection. So we aren't doing NSSRS Data Manager anymore. So that's where you would typically upload that file. So we're creating this collection in the data collections tab, and you'll basically just log in and literally just upload the file, and that's all you do in it. If you, yeah. Yes, you'll have to get an activation code from your district administrator and add the collection in order to have access to it. Yeah, for sure. And if you have a question on who should be included in that file, you can go to NSSRS, and there is a verification report. Make sure you change the date in NSSRS to last year, because again, this is a list of 1718 kiddos.
And somewhere we can find the template? Yeah. Sorry,
Yes. No, that's a good question. We still have the templates on the NSSRS data research evaluation page.
Exact same one we've used in the past.
Yep. And so some of your SIS systems may already have a report you just download. It'll be the exact same thing. Any other questions? Okay, due dates are due dates, as Pam Taggart would say. So the due date is June 15th. That's when all the information should be in Advisor, right? And then for 2 weeks, the program owner's NDE will look at that data and say, hey, maybe this might be, not right, and reach out to the districts. That's our audit window. So on the 30th, that audit window is done, and we're done. Now, we have the request to submit data late process, and that will remain, but those are only approved in extenuating circumstances. So it's just really important to get your information in there by the due date. So here's some of the resources that I've talked about. You've got the Advisor resources page. That's this one with the various accordion breakouts here. So this is Advisor specific. There is kind of a menu over here, and there's an NSSRS section, so you could get that template from there if you needed. There's also a consolidated data collection section, but a lot of us are using, Advisor. So you've got the calendar, which includes the due dates. You've got your data guidance, which is like your data elements. And then up here is a link to a Google site that actually has some really great vendor resources for like your SIS systems. It lists all our work days that we're going to be doing this spring, so come see us. And then it also talks about our district advisor monthly meetings. So if you're not already attending those calls, they're really helpful. And we kind of give you our latest and greatest updates. Come on. And then this is a link to that CDC page I showed you earlier. And then you've got the help desk us, so email us, advisorhelp@nebraskacloud.org. You can submit a ticket through the portal, you can leave us a voice message, but really, really helpful to us this year and continuing forward is the VST teams. They're really helpful when it comes to your SIS-specific questions. Everyone at the ESUs and the vendors supporting you guys and your questions related to those, they're extremely helpful. And questions?